Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Let's start our video with a story in which entitled woman mistakes veteran wearing a video game shirt for grocery store employee and wants them to do her shopping for her. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Entitled woman wants me, a veteran, to do her grocery shopping. I'm a 26-year-old female and moved to Idaho from the South a few years ago. The cast is me, entitled middle-aged woman, EW, the manager, M. I was walking into the grocery store, the one known for rollbacks and similar to Walmart, when a woman got out of her car parked in one of those spots where you order online and an associate brings you your order to your vehicle, and got in front of my face, snapping her fingers at me. EW, hey, go get my order. I've been waiting forever for it. Me, ma'am, I don't work here. I'm going inside to do my own shopping. EW, yes you do, don't lie. You're wearing a blue shirt like the rest of the workers. Now go get my groceries. Here's the list. She had a list in her hand, trying to hand it to me. Me, do you mean my Fallout 76 shirt that has Fallout 76 written all over it? Ma'am, that's a video game. I'm not going to go grocery shopping for you. I don't work here. Please leave me alone. EW, yes you do. Now go get my groceries. She hands me the list and smirks. Me, okay, as you wish. I walked inside and found the manager and said, excuse me, there's a woman outside demanding her order and had me mistaken for a worker. She handed me this list. Can you go straighten it out? M, that's weird. I'll go see what she wants. We walked out there, and I had her list, trying to hand it back to her. M, ma'am, OP said you handed her a list to go get your order. What's your order number, and have you checked in saying you're here for pickup? EW, here for pickup? I didn't order online. I had a list, and he's supposed to go get my groceries and bring them to me. He should know that. Also, I want him fired for disrespecting me. M, that's not how that works, and he doesn't work here. Me, he's correct. You have to order online and pick it up at the designated time. Here's your list back, ma'am. EW, he does work here. He parked in front there with veteran plates. That means he's worked here for a while. M, that's not right. He has those plates because he's a veteran. You need to either go inside and do your own shopping or order online for pickup. EW, no. He's a longtime employee and even has the plates. Do your job and go get my groceries, you jerk. Me, ma'am, I've been nothing but respectful, and for the last time, I don't work here. And those plates are my Marine Corps veteran plates because I'm a Marine veteran, you clown. The DMV doesn't have grocery store veteran plates. Take your list and leave me alone. EW, don't lie. I guess people here aren't respectful like they are in Cali. There, the customer service is always right. Give me my list. She snatched the list, and the manager was getting angry. M, all right, I've seen enough. Now, please leave, or I'll have you trespassed. EW, but my groceries. This is unfair. If this was Cali, you'd be fired. M, well, welcome to Idaho. Now leave. She got in her car, huffing like my cat when she doesn't get second breakfast. We start walking back inside when she leaves. M, I'm sorry about that. I don't get paid enough to deal with this. Me, it's okay. Thanks for handling that. I went and got my groceries, and the manager met me at the counter and gave me a bag of Skittles he purchased and said, thanks. Marine here. And our second story. Bar boy forgets to put table numbers on his tickets. When I was 18 years old, I worked for a certain pub in the UK, which for the purposes of this post, I shall name Climate Forks. I worked in the kitchen, cooking food for customers and employees who were able to get a 50% discount on all food during their shift, although it was more microwaving fancy ready meals and assembling side salads than actually cooking. The job was okay, and most of my coworkers were fun to work with, but some of them had annoying traits or habits that would occasionally get in the way of work. Kyle was one such coworker. Kyle wasn't a bad guy. In fact, most of the time he was pretty cool, but he would often forget to put table numbers on his orders when inputting it into the POS system. At my pub, when a ticket came through to the kitchen, we would see the order on the screen and there would be a table number in red or black showing if the table was upstairs or downstairs. When the food was cooked and the ticket cleared, it would send the ticket to either the upstairs or downstairs bar area based on the table number. But if a table number wasn't attached to the ticket, the system would default to table 0, which is also the number used for staff food. It also gets sent straight downstairs. On one particular night, Kyle forgot to input a table number about 6 times in the space of half an hour, and as a result, there were plates of fully prepared food either not leaving or being returned to the kitchen by confused floor staff because nobody knew where it was going. It got to the point that I had to pull Kyle from the bar into the kitchen and told him, "You're the only person who knows where all this food is going. Take it out right now before we run out of space." This was also on a really busy night. We were hammered in the kitchen, and his shenanigans were really interfering with our operation. Thankfully, he managed to get it all to the right place, but it set us back a bit. Some days later, Kyle was sporadically forgetting table numbers throughout the day, and it was starting to get on my nerves that I would have to constantly get him to come into the kitchen to take the food, because we didn't know if we were supposed to leave the plates in the kitchen to be taken to a table upstairs or send it into the lift downstairs. It was getting seriously aggravating, and I was becoming more exasperated with how often he was forgetting something as simple as attaching a table number to a ticket. When Kyle went on his break, he put the ticket through for his own food, writing a note through the computer to say it was for him specifically. He then came into the kitchen and asked which one of us kitchen B-words was going to cook his food. I volunteered as I wasn't preoccupied with anything else. I casually remarked that it was a good thing he wrote a note on the ticket, otherwise I would have thought it was another normal order for a customer that he had forgotten to put a number on. He said, "Yeah, whatever," and left the kitchen to go back downstairs. The kitchen manager was on shift with me that day, and before I did anything, I said to him, "Kyle deserves what I'm about to do, just so you know." Kitchen manager looked at me quizzically, but acknowledged I was about to do something questionable. I can't remember exactly what Kyle ordered, but it took about 5 minutes to make. Before I even began preparing any of the ingredients of his meal, I took a plate and placed it into the meal stream. This thing is basically a fan oven and microwave combined. I set the timer to 2 minutes, let the plate warm up, then cooked his food. When the timer beeped, I had to use thick gloves to take the plate out because it was searing hot, so much so that the lacquer on the plate had turned a slightly darker shade of blue due to the heat. Holding this thing for more than a full second would cause some pain. This plate had become a scorching ceramic disc of justice. I carefully assembled his meal in the plating up section of the kitchen, put it into the delivery lift to send it to him downstairs, and wrote a note on a napkin saying, "For Kyle's hands only." I didn't want anyone else touching this plate. I sent the meal down and cleared the ticket on the kitchen computer, which would alert staff downstairs that the food was on its way, and giddily awaited the results. No less than 2 minutes later did Kyle burst back into the kitchen complaining, "That plate was effing hot," to which I loudly replied, "Well, maybe if you remembered to put table numbers on your tickets, you wouldn't have burned your hand." He looked at me dead in the face and magnanimously conceded, "Yeah, all right." Kyle never forgot to put a table number on a ticket again. And that's why you should always remember rule number 1 of working/being in a restaurant. Don't F with the people who cook your food. Manager should have fixed the computer so that you couldn't hit send until the table number was on order. And our next story. I actually do work in a restaurant, just not this one. Every Friday, myself and my husband and kiddos, 7 and 4 boys, go out to eat at our local Perkins after my 9 to 8 shift at my restaurant. I'm a GM, so I work plenty, and this is really the first chance my kids have to see and talk to mommy since Tuesday at bedtime. It's been a tradition for us for more than 8 years. The servers and managers at that location have been almost aunties to my boys. I always come in immediately after work, so I'm in my uniform. Black pants, black polo with embroidered logo, hair tied back, etc. Restaurant work appropriate. After all, I've just finished an 11-hour shift. One of my guilty pleasures is the claw machine at this Perkins. I'm really lucky on it. I have over 80 toys out of this thing from the last 4 years. My boys love me playing it. Their stuffed animal collection is huge. This week, after we were seated, I immediately headed to the restroom and to play the claw. As I was walking to the front of the restaurant, a couple was waiting to be seated. I paused in my walk to greet one of the servers by name and confirm my drink order as my usual hot tea, and then continued to the front. Being still in uniform and technically still a representative of my company, I did smile politely at the couple and say hi. I walked past them and used the restroom. When I came out, I saw the couple still standing at the host stand. I then stopped to play the claw machine. From the host stand, I hear, "Oh, come on." I looked up to find the gentleman giving me not the nicest look. I smiled at him and said, "I'm sorry, I don't actually work at this restaurant. The manager was headed to the back a minute ago. She should be out soon." Fortunately, the lady then blurted out, "Oh my God, that's not the right logo." We all had a little chuckle over how common an occurrence this can be. I then won a pink unicorn cat with a rainbow tail and headed back to my table just as the server ran up to seat those poor people. Happy ending, and they really weren't that rude. This right here is a normal people interaction, like they're understandably annoyed that it seems like you're not helping them. When you tell them you don't work at this restaurant, their brain clicks and everything's all good. Always glad to see the normal people posts. And our last story. HOA Strikes from the Shadows. My grandpa was all about the sea, spent his whole life sailing the world. He was a long-distance sailor. Even though he wasn't home much, he made sure all his earnings went to us. When he retired, he got himself and Grandma a cozy little place and passed on the big family apartment to my dad. Sadly, Grandpa left us too soon because of lung cancer thanks to his heavy smoking. Grandma inherited the house, and I used to hang out there a lot as a kid, especially with my sister. But then she married a rich guy from Germany and moved there. Long story short, Grandma lived up to 90, and when she passed, she left everything to me. So I decided to move into her place from my rented apartment. But then out of the blue, I get this letter in March saying Grandma had somehow agreed to sell the house through some HOA trust, and now it's up for sale. I've never seen such papers, and the lawyer, who's legit by the way, isn't showing me anything when I ask. To be honest, I'm not attached to the house, so if they really want it, fine, but I'm setting the price. The whole thing seems off, though. Maybe Grandpa signed off on something back in the day? But if it's not on paper, it doesn't count, right? If they push for the sale, I might just ask for a sky-high price or fight to keep the HOA at bay. After my notice got sent back and I left a bunch of voice messages, they tell me it was all verbally agreed. Can you believe it? The HOA president, who I've never met, expects me to take his word and sell my house for cheap to some HOA that showed up here 5 years ago. No way, folks. I'm demanding a meeting at the house with the lawyer and these HOA people today, and if that doesn't work, I'm thinking of changing the zoning to something like a sewage plant. Someone commented that without anything in writing, the HOA has no stand. So yeah, I'm going for the max. Another tip was to send a registered letter to the HOA and lawyer asking for the documents and saying the deal's off without an upfront payment. Might give that a shot. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.